Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome to the fourth session of Ishopanishad. And we have been so far until verse 8. We have been doing about Brahma Vidya, how realization of Brahman can lead us to the great knowledge of oneness with whole existence, which will remove all our miseries, and we will be in the bliss of Brahman. That is our own nature. Now Ishopanishad takes up something else, very strange verses. If you read verse 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13, and 14, you will find they are very special, very different. Because Ishopanishad so far talking about those who want immortality. For them the path is shown and the result is shown. But there might be people who do not want that immortality in Brahman, who want to reap the fruits of good actions in this world. So for them also it has to take care. Vedas are all not all about the realization of Brahman. Vedas is how to live in the world also. Shankara says that dvivido hi vedokto dharma. Two types of dharma or purpose of life has been stated in Vedas. Pravritti lakshano, nivritti lakshanasya. The one is pravritti lakshana. Pravritti is you want to lead a good life, devoted to God, moral, ethical, and supported by powers of nature, power of God, and lead a happy life and enjoy the fruits of your good life in this world. And after your life ends here, you go to some heaven, enjoy heaven. That is also said in the Vedas. Pravritti lakshana. Many people want that. They want to live happily here and want to go to heaven. Many are there. In fact, some religions say only that. You would live here, worship God, worship this deity, this prophet, and you will go to heaven, and you will be there. Enjoy the fruits of your good actions here. So that is sort of pravritti lakshana. So, and another is called nivritti lakshana, where all this good action, enjoying the world, having the blessing of God, and only having good life in the world is seen to be not ultimate happiness, and is seen to be nivritti lakshana. I don't want such thing. I want final and full emancipation, full salvation, full liberation. Not that coming back to world, enjoying the life again in heaven. We have seen how life is here. Only extrapolation of what enjoyment is here, as Swamiji was saying about the enjoyment, of what is there that you enjoy in the world, in the heaven. So that heavenly concept of heaven, or actually going to heaven, doesn't attract those people. They want full freedom from all this bondage. Enjoyment is also a bondage for them. Suffering is bondage, enjoyment is also bondage. Because enjoyment is also not a final thing. You have something and you enjoy. And if there is only enjoyment, like concept of heaven in our Hindu scripture is, you go there, stay there for your until your karma is there, good karma is there, and after karma finishes, you come back. So this heaven is also transitory, temporary thing, temporary station. But in some religion, after you die here, you go to heaven, and it is eternal heaven. So heaven never ends. And what happens in heaven? Nothing. You just eat, sleep, and marry, and nothing else. Day after day, same thing. And no death, no relief from there. You cannot come anywhere also. I want to go again to the earth, and nothing that. You are bound there. You are jailed in that heaven. So that is also not very attractive proposition for if you think deeply. Only doing nothing, no challenge, no thought, only you eat, sleep and just nothing is there. And no aging, no, nothing. You don't grow old, you don't have any, what, your thoughts will also be marred. After that, what you will think? Nothing is there to achieve. Everything is supplied and there is no change in you. And that is forever. So that is sort of heaven. But people want heaven. The other religions, they do everything to go to heaven. They can do anything to go to heaven. Worship God or any other thing you say. You do this and you will go to heaven and eternal heaven. They are ready to do that. So, but that attracts some people. In Vedas also, the Vedas are the mother of religion. So there have been this is not unseen in Vedas, that there is a way to go to heaven. There is a pravritti lakshana dharma. And nivritti lakshana dharma, not going to heaven. Swami Vivekananda said to one of his disciples in America, if I follow Swamiji, what you will give me? I will teach you how not to go to heaven. So like that is here, after teaching about the Brahma Vidya, now Ishopanishad somehow brings back to Pravritti Lakshana Dharma and says very strange things. If you read, it seems very strange and unintelligible, having no meaning of this. Verse 9. Let's go to verse 9. Andham tamah pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yau vidyayam ratah. They enter blinding darkness who worship avidya. Into greater darkness, as it were, do they enter who delight in vidya. So if we translate, as we do always in the Upanishadic literature, that vidya is knowledge, avidya is ignorance and vidya is knowledge. The first sentence, when you worship avidya, you are prone to avidya, you don't want to have any knowledge, you go to darkness. Avidya means darkness, that asurya, namate, loka, like that thing. But those who worship are, they enter, those who are, they worship vidya, into greater darkness, as it were, do they enter, who delight in vidya. How can vidya, who is engrossed in knowledge, can go to greater darkness than pursuing avidya, ignorance? Very not understandable at all. So here vidya and avidya will have different meaning, not our traditional meaning that we have been studying in Upanishad. Next verse, let us go. Anyad evahur vidyaya, anyad ahur avidyaya. Iti shusrumadhiranam e nastad vichachakshire. One result, they say, is obtained by vidya, and quite another by avidya. Thus have we heard from the wise who explained it to us. So vidya and avidya are quite different, and one result, if they are different, result will be different. That the Ishopanishad, there is no teacher, there is no student, but there is a saying, we have heard. It is not we are making. This has been taught to us. We got it from earlier teachers, that who worship vidya will have one result, who worship avidya will have another result. Understandable. Those who worship avidya, delight in avidya, they will go to darkness. But those who worship vidya, they will go to greater darkness. So that is very intriguing. Now let's read the third verse. Vidyayancha vidyamcha vidyamcha vidyancha yastad vedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amritam usnute. He who understands vidya and avidya both together conquers death by avidya and attains immortality through vidya. So it makes like a sense of Upanishadic teaching. But Shankara explains these three verses in the light that here it is being said like pravritti lakshana, those who want to have the good life here and want to worship according to Vedic method of ritualistic worship and Vedic method of meditation. For them, that is called vidya and avidya there. Shankara had to come to explain us this thing, otherwise very difficult to understand. And Shankara says, by the word Vidya means it is Vedic meditation or worship of some gods. And there are so many gods in the Vedas, in the Brahmana portion of the Vedas, so many gods. Like I said, sun is God, moon, Vayu, Agni, all are gods. So you worship different gods, that is called Vidya. How to meditate on them, how to get the power they have, how to have the blessing or grace from them and live a happy life. The all worship, if you read there have been that how we can have a better life, how we can have lot of crops grow well, and we have lot of progeny. That have been all the prayers in Vedas, if you say, how we can have lot of more progeny, more prosperity, lot of crops, plenty of food, lot of rain, and for that there is to be prayer and rituals for these gods. And there have been rituals for this prosperous life living. So what Shankara says is by avidya, here it means, avidya means worship of the ritualistic worship. As it is said, you pour your oblation to the fire with the prayer to that particular god, and God becomes propitious and you get the thing. In Vedas, it is believed, particularly Arya Samaj also now says that if you recite the mantra in the perfect way and offer oblations to the fire with all devotion and faith, the result will come. There will be result. You will get whatever you have prayed for. The Vedas words are infallible. What has been told in Vedas will bear fruit. So that is what it is said. So it will bear fruit what you are asking. When you worship avidya or perform avidya, that is you perform ritualistic worship according to Vedas, and you will get, but here it says, those who do that will go to darkness. Naturally darkness from the perspective of realizing the truth. So that sort of you will get the things that you have done, but that will be worldly prosperity, not about the spiritual illumination. So when there is no spiritual illumination, the Upanishad wants to say, you will get those, but it will be darkness as far as the spiritual illumination is called. And if you delight in vidya, it will be still greater darkness. You delight in the Vedic meditation, no desire for emancipation, but you worship God in meditation according to whatever has been taught. So that will be greater darkness, greater ignorance. So says in this verse. And the second, actually three verses come together. Second verse it says, the result of avidya or worshipping having the rituals is different. And result of vidya is different. When one worships these rituals, they get the things. It will have different results because worship are different. So, but if you worship, the third verse says, if you worship both this together, you do ritualistic worship and also you do the meditation on the Vedas, then there is greater result. Only avoiding one thing and doing one thing, only doing rituals without any meditation, so that will be one result. Only doing meditation, doing no ritualistic worship, another result. But if you do together both things, then it says with the help of avidya mrityum tirtva, you will cross over the mrityu by avidya, by ritualistic worship, and by performing vidya or Vedic meditation, you will conquer, with the amritam asnute, you will become immortal. Again we have to understand here this going beyond the death and attaining to immortality is also not the real going beyond death and attaining immortality. That's what it says, Vedanta, the Shankara says. It is like enjoying the fruits of worship in the world and then going to heaven, and then you reap the fruit in heaven of what you have worshipped. So that is what the amrita means. You are not down with all all the things that people who do not worship God, they will have, like the darkness, materialistic and selfish, and life that is very engrossed in self-enjoyment, that is not there. You will cross over that, you will overcome that thought. That it calls, you'll cross the mrityu. Like that is supposed to be mrityu. One has the very materialistic, self-centered life of sense enjoyment, that is called mrityu. By doing worship, ritualistic worship, you don't lead such type of life. It is not materialistic, self-centered, only enjoyment-filled, sensuous life. So you cross the mrityu, death, and you attained amritam. Amritam is you go to heaven and have a bright body. So amritam in the sense of brightness, and for some time there is joy. In that way, amritam. It is not the immortality as prescribed by this nivritti lakshana dharma. Nivritti lakshana dharma says you will be immortal because you will be not bound by anything. You will be totally free. This is not that immortality, but the word is used amritam. So that is what it is being said. Swami Sarvagatanandaji has a little different explanation, very practical according to our own thing. He says that worshipping education, he says Vidya is education. So those who do not go for education are blind. There is no doubt about that. So one has to learn something, study something, try to understand, try to make their intellect finer by studying the thing. That's why study is so important. Without study, without knowledge, we will be like animals. What makes us different from animals is that we have thinking power, we know, we study the things, we worship Vidya. That's why we have that power. So avidya will lead us to darkness. There is no doubt avidya will lead us to darkness. So Vidya is very important. But Swami Vivekananda says, what is real Vidya? What is real education? He says that the education is that which makes one this man-making, character-making, life-building, man-making, character-making, assimilation of ideas. That is real education. So that is the real Vidya, it would be if it is described that way. So you have to stand on your own feet by acquiring the skill, not depending on other. Even the education will lead us in the society to remain independent. So you become independent by earning education. And also not only in your skill and your in livelihood, but in your thought. You have so much of independence of thinking that somebody says something and you don't just accept that without any reasoning or without any logical proof. So you have some logical proof to believe that you stand on your own intellectual maturity also. That is the education that is needed. So why then is said those who worship Vidya will go to greater darkness? Swami Sarvagatanandaji tries to describe that only you have learning and you become proud of your learning. Then you are worse than those who do not have any Vidya learning. So you think you know a lot and you have that pride has come to you. When the pride enters into a human being, it's all learning is gone, it's all dashed down. So this pride, ego, that is very bad. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if a Pandit doesn't have Viveka and Vairagya or doesn't have spiritual growth, just has the learning of Shastras a lot, describes a lot of Shastras, and to that I compare him with the vulture. Lot of learned, but doesn't practice that in life. And he gives some example of the exponent of Bhagavatam. King wanted one Bhagavatam explanation of Bhagavatam, a scripture in Hinduism. And he asked to search, and they said there is one very nice person, Pandit, nice means he is very learned, and his explanation is fantastic. So ask him to come. I want to learn Bhagavat, what is written there in that scripture. He said, one problem is there. What is problem? Oh, he's very busy in farming. So he has no time to explain. Oh, I don't want that farming Bhagavatam who doesn't have time to explain the thing. That means he doesn't leave what he studies or explains. He is very engrossed in his minor occupation of his minor thing and neglects his studies or teaching studies. Like that, Sri Ramakrishna also says that this thing is like, I consider those like vultures. Shankaracharya says, Vag in Viveka Chudamani, Vag Vaikhari Shabda Jhari Shastra Vyakhyana Kausalam. Bhuktaye natu muktaye. So some people are there, they explain the thing very nicely. But do not leave to that, just like vulture, like Sri Ramakrishna said. So those things, those just talk without having that inside. So they are, they do that not for liberation, not for oneself, but I don't know how others will, how much will have that. Not for themselves, no liberation happens, even they have so much of knowledge of Vedas, Upanishads and the Bhagavatam. That is for their enjoyment. What is enjoyment? One is that they can explain the thing so nicely. They don't practice but explain the thing. They find intellectual joy in that. Another is they may get some money for that. Some will be happy. Fame will be there. They will get some reward. All is meant for enjoyment. So, bhuktaye natu vag vaikhari shabdajari shastra vyakhyana kausalam vaidusyam vidusham tadvat. That is the intellectual exposition of wise person, of scholars, not wise, scholars, and for that vaidusyam vidusham tadvat. Bhuktaye natu muktaye, that doesn't help. So that type of knowledge becomes even darker than those who do not know. At least those who do not worship, who do not have interest in knowledge, they are aware that they are not learned. So they only do worship to have enjoyment, they are happy. But those who have lot of learning and do not practice those, so those are like hypocrites. Hypocrites, as Sri Ramakrishna will say. So, those go into greater darkness. But what Upanishad says is, if you combine together, then verse 13, that these both have two different results, we have heard from them, verse 12. Verse 13 says, if both are combined together, then you go beyond the by avidya, you performing avidya, by ritualistic worship, you go beyond death, mrityum turtva. Beyond death means whatever poverty, unsophisticated life and life of difficulty, all that is compared with mrityu. All suffering in this world without prosperity, without having decent life, that is compared with mrityu, not the real death. That not having the thing that you need is also mrityu. So that they will cross, and that will cross that by ritual. They will be living prosperous life. By meditation, they will go amritam. They will have something to go to heaven. So these two should be combined together. Is the purport of Ishopanishad. That even if you want pravritti dharma, lakshana dharma you want to practice, the dharma that will give you happiness in the life and want to be in heaven afterwards, then also you have to combine this together. Who practice both together, and you will attain that thing. So recommending full prescription, full course for pravritti lakshana dharma, for living in the world with all prosperity and going to heaven after that. You have to do both together. Let's go to verse another. It's also similar type of thing said in the verse 12, 13 and 14. Andham tamah pravishanti e asambhutim upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yau sambhutyam ratah. Those who worship asambhuti enter into blinding darkness. Asambhuti, something is there. What is there? Asambhuti will come. Those who delight in sambhuti enter into greater darkness. So asambhuti means that is uncreated, avyakrita, not created, is called asambhuti. Sambhuti means created, something that is born, something that has come from something. So what is here meant by those who worship asambhuti enter into blinding darkness. Those who worship uncreated, they go to blinding darkness. And those who delight in Sambhuti or created thing, they go to greater darkness, as it were. So what is this Sambhuti and Asambhuti? Here Sambhuti is, Asambhuti means Prakriti, Avyakrita, says Shankara. Shankaracharya says Avyakrita, the Mula Prakriti, the first manifestation, what we call this Shakti, Mula Shakti, Mula Avidya. It's called Mula Avidya. That is what is called here Asambhuti, uncreated. And if you worship Sambhuti, Sambhuti is the created. What is created? First created is Brahma. What is called Hiranyagarbha or Mahat, that intellect, only engrossed in intellect. If you worship only Mula Prakriti, or it is from the, it is like it is criticizing the thing, then you will enter into darkness. You will not have any realization. If you are engrossed, if you are delight only in the worship of Avyakrita, only Prakriti, not concerned with the Brahman, because you do not know that Prakriti is Brahman itself without having that knowledge. So only Prakriti is thought to be worshipped. So it has different result. It will come in the last one. Only Prakriti worship, you will go to darkness. Only Hiranyagarbha you worship, you will go to greater darkness. So it is not complete. So it says you have to do both the things. In next verse it will say, Anyadevahu sambhavat anyad ahura asambhavat iti susrumadhiranam enastad vichachakshire. One result, they say, is obtained from the worship of Sambhava, that is created, that is Brahma. Not Brahma though, Brahma or Hiranyagarbha. And quite another result from the Asambhava or Avyakrita or Mula Prakriti. Thus have we heard from the wise who explained it to us. So two different results from two different things. Shankara explains that, what are the two different results. Let us go to third verse. Sambhuti cha vinasam cha yastad vedo bhayam saha vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutya mritamasnute. So here word changes. Here about the asambhuti and sambhuti, instead of that, it is the word vinasa for sambhuti. And Shankara says the first word sambhuti is not correct thing because of the fruits. You should use that as asambhuti, says that Shankaracharya says. The first word sambhutim cha vinasam cha. So it says it should be asambhutim cha vinasam cha yastad vedo bhayam saha vinasena mrityum tirtva sambhutya amritam asnute. Vinasa here means that first created being, sambhuti, and asambhuti means again mula prakriti. So if both are worshipped, both are done together, then you go beyond death and you attain immortality. Now that is the thing. What is that? So first is worship of Prakriti. So Prakriti worship, those who worship Prakriti, Mula Prakriti, they would, what is the result of that worshipping Mula Prakriti? They say when they worship Mula Prakriti, they are engrossed in that only, not in the Brahman. They will finally merge into Prakriti Lina. They will merge into Prakriti. Those who have, that's why it is, when you lean in Prakriti, you have, Prakriti Lina is a concept. It is in the Prakriti Lina is also, in Vedanta also you use that. Prakriti Lina means when the soul departs, it merges in the ultimate nature there. That Avyakrita, not concerned with creation, beyond creation. This creation is there, creation comes and all creation is destroyed. So those who merge in Prakriti, they are not destroyed when the creation destroys, they remain there until this creation totally destroys. So they become immortal until that time. They cross death until that time, till all this creation is first time annihilated. Until then they are safe. They are not coming again, going again like that. They merge there in Prakriti Lina. And those, if you worship the Vinasam, that is Hiranyagarbha, that is created and is destroyed. If you do that, you become of bright bodies, and you go to Brahma Loka, and there you enjoy time for certain time until the next birth comes, you go to heaven. So these two have different results. If both are done together, if you worship Prakriti and also you worship the Brahma or want that, also it is all of that Pravritti Lakshana. When you want to have that type of life, you want to enjoy the life. So you worship gods. It says gods, as Shankaracharya will explain, gods with small g. And then that has this wonderful result you have if you do not want mukti, emancipation, you want to see that oneness, you don't want to get liberated from the bondage of body and from the samsara, then there is process for you also, Vedas will say. So after, this is what in these 6 verses, this is very intriguing and difficult to understand, but this is what it wants to say, that if you do not seek for realization of oneness, you can go only up to that. You cannot go beyond this. You will be either in Prakriti Lina, or you will have bright body in the heaven, or you will go to heaven and you will enjoy life here, but not more than that. You will have to be reborn again. You will have to become again. Those who are Prakriti Lina, they do not have to come back until the next creation starts. They have to come back in the next creation. Sri Ramakrishna says this Mahamaya keeps the, like the grandmother in the villages, they keep the seeds of different plants in a pot. They have hotspot pot, Sri Ramakrishna says. And some seeds of cucumber, some seeds of other vegetable, and all seeds are put together. And when season comes, they will plant from that. Like that Mahamaya also keeps all the seeds. We may have enjoying in heaven, being Prakriti Lina, anything, but those seeds do not get destroyed. They remain there. And when creation comes, then we'll have to be reborn again with all the samskara that we had created when we were human being. But they were just suspended, and they come and they again we are born and work upon what we have. There is no mukti without having the knowledge of Brahman. Mukti na bhavati janma satena. So you may have hundreds and hundreds of births, but without having knowledge, there is no mukti for the human beings. That is what Shankara wants to, this Ishopanishad wants to say. This 6 verse, Shankara has a greater commentary. The Swamiji says very practical from our life. You can read that and you will enjoy what does Swamiji's view of how we can make this practical. The few verses remain. Tomorrow I will want Maharaj to take the class in the morning. Let us see how much that will. 4 to 5 though? 5 o'clock? 4:30 to 5:30? Okay. So let us go to next verse then now. Verse 15. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukham tattvam pushan apavrinu satya dharmaya drishtaye. So here the person again now, after doing all pravritti lakshana, now he is praised to God. The traditional way is saying that a person is praying, has come almost to realization and sees the sun. Sun is as if covering the bright lead. Sun is like a lead, covering like a lead, the shining golden orb covers the entrance to the truth in thee. Remove it, O supporter, so that I, who am devoted to the truth, may behold that. So something is praying to sun. Sun is the source of life and source of light. And sun is representing here the source of knowledge. That is how it is being said here. But sun, you see, so it says that sun is so bright and its lead is covering the truth. Truth is what that we cannot see, as if it is covering the truth. It is praying to sun that sun may kindly remove the lead, and I can see the truth. that is beyond that. Like that, this world as we perceive is covering the truth. We are not able to see the truth that is beyond name and form. Every name and form has covered the truth and makes us ignorant. And if that cover is removed, then we will see the truth that is here itself. Sun, saying the sun is that. Truth is here and now itself, only it is hidden from our understanding, from our realization, because we see it covered, that Vikshepa Shakti of Maya, as they say, Avarana Shakti of Maya. Avarana Shakti of Maya, of the nature, has covered the truth. We want to remove that Avarana Shakti and cover, we have to cover that Avarana Shakti with the Shakti, with the Avarana of knowledge. That's why Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam, not Avarana Vasyam, that Avarana of the covering of the ignorance. Please remove that, and I want to see the truth that is in you. That sun is supposed to be, it is praying to sun that you are the source of knowledge. And somehow I cannot see knowledge. Can you remove your covering and let me see the truth? I have come close to truth. I feel I can see that, but somehow it is covered. That cover of Avarana Shakti is not going, and praying to Supreme God who nourishes this whole world, that you remove that and I can see. In this and succeeding verses, the Rishi mentions a few things that help us to understand how to mind the struggling soul should be set. If you want to achieve a goal in life, you have to make it happen. Nothing worth having happens automatically. Some people say things just happen, but the only thing that happens by itself is an accident. If you want to reach this place, Old Smoky, where this retreat was given, you have to drive carefully, be alert and follow all the signs. But if you do not do these things, what happens is an accident. Now we don't have to see all the sign and go. Now we have GPS. Now you put the GPS and you reach the destiny. So GPS is, they say it is like someone is there, guide who teaches you what to do, and you follow that and you reach there. GPS is like guru. So instead of saying that, they say guru positioning system. That has become like a guru and guide. It will make you reach there. Just follow what your GPS says. It has become so simple. Earlier it was not that, when GPS was not there. So you had to make all plan.
Even GPS doesn't tell you that this is the traffic light, red light, don't go.
Yes, that you have to put yourself. That's what the alertness comes. You have to be alert. Otherwise, sometimes GPS Maharaj misguides you, takes you somewhere else. Earlier it was there. So now they have become more refined and take you. So even if you have GPS, you have to be alert of your progress on the path, and you have to check the obstacles and save yourself from all those obstacles and dangers on the way. So what is the GPS will say traffic, but who is driving, how you will not be able to know. If you want to learn something but you just keep quiet and do nothing, nothing will happen. You have to go to school, read and study all the necessary things. Whatever you are now was your own making. Nothing up to now has happened by accident or by itself. Therefore, you have to struggle hard to achieve what you want. It is your own making. That's how Swami makes it very practical. That though praying to sun, but you have to put your effort. To sun, praying to sun, remove your orb, your golden disc, I want to see, and sun removes and you see. That doesn't happen. You have to put effort to realize the truth. Without effort, nothing happens. They say even if a lion sleeps in the den and says that, oh, maybe deer will come and I will eat deer, it will never come. It has to go out, jump and wait for the prey. In Sanskrit there is a nice verse. Uddame nahi siddhyanti karyani na manorathe. Nahi suptasya singhasya pravishanti mukhe mriga. No animal will go to the in the mouth of a lying and lazy lion. So one has to do effort. In spiritual life also, without effort, nothing will happen. That is just a prayer to say that the truth is hidden by what we see, and beyond the vision that we see, there is truth. As we see this world or this creation, beyond that is truth. When we see sun, beyond the sun is the truth. So that truth is, sun is worshipped or shown as the symbol of truth, because sun is bright, nourisher, and the symbol of all knowledge and life. Whatever the case may be, if there is any way by which I can hasten the process of minimizing and the suffering, I want to follow that path. Why should I be playing in the hands of nature? If there is a better way, why should I drift like a log in ocean, being tossed about by every wave? Work hard, practice, be alert. That's what he's saying. In this verse, with this second last paragraph, in this verse, an individual is trying to know the truth. In the process, he finds a lot of difficulties. He has transcended many of the obstacles to purify his consciousness and control his thoughts. Still, he finds that the path is not easy and that something is obstructing it. He describes the obstruction as being like a golden disc, hiranmayena patrena. This verse contains the words of an individual who has been struggling hard to conquer the lower tendencies and who is close to realization. Most of the samskaras have been overcome, but still some are left. There are two types of samskaras, negative and positive. As we discussed in verse 3, they are like dark clouds and white clouds. Both cover the truth and color the mind. First, you have to control and transcend all the negative samskaras, then the positive samskaras still remain. Holding the mind, they are like transparent white clouds. They let through a lot of light, but they are still an obstruction. One of the biggest clouds and the last to go is the ego. So long as there is a feeling of I and thou, we have not realized the goal. Once someone asked Sri Ramakrishna, "When shall I be free?" He answered, "When that I shall cease to be." When the sense of I is being removed, we discover something luminous, shining and full of life. That is the golden disc. That I ceases and you see that. In the Yoga Aphorisms of Patanjali, there is a beautiful passage about the Dharma Megha. After a rainstorm, even after most of the clouds have disappeared, there are some thin white clouds which block the sunlight. You can see the outline of the sun through these clouds as a white disk. The Dharma Megha is like that. It is made up of the positive thoughts. The Sattva Guna is still there. Here the aspirant calls it the golden disc. It is like a lead. So what is said here is we have to remove all our negative thoughts, that negative thoughts of our egotism and our not opening up our intellect. And that is not enough. We have to try to remove all these dark clouds as they were. So our tendencies to go for attachment, there's one big tendency. And the fear is another black cloud. That tendency is there. We are afraid of many things, afraid of our death, greatest fear, and afraid of disease, old age, everything we are afraid of, our job, afraid of so many things. Those are also big negative clouds. We have to overcome those negative clouds. And there are, after that, all negative clouds are gone. When till ego is there, there are other white, thin white clouds. Still the truth is not seen. What are the white clouds? They are also called gold chain that binds us with this world. Like doing good to the world without having realized you want to establish some charitable, some organization and want to do something good to the world. And because you are not perfect yet, and while doing that seemingly selfless work, then the problem comes when the work is there. Always work has something dark side. So there is the thing, someone doesn't listen to you, and the thing that you had thought, it doesn't happening. People you thought will be happy with your work and they will all be pleased. It doesn't work that way. Then you become frustrated. In the name of doing good work of selfless service to the society, because you are not yet perfect, so you are not able to continue. And even if your work goes on well, you provided the work nicely, nothing problem was there, you managed very well. After some time, what may happen, that you are getting old. And now the thing comes, you have to leave your position in your organization that you have yourself established. Now you don't want to leave, because you were there enjoying your work of your service, whatever is there. Maybe you were enjoying unknowingly the little praise that you got from the society, what a wonderful work that person is doing, or you were eager to have some award, it may not be Nobel Prize, but some other award you were eager to have. So like that thing you have and you do not get, and after that you do not want to leave. If I leave, how will I live if I go away from this job? So all these are the white clouds that may come because we had not attained perfection. Sri Ramakrishna, that's why he says, somehow you should see God. Josho kore Bhagavan ke pao. Means somehow, by any means. And that is the greatest achievement, if you can get God by hook or crook, they say. Try to hook or crook is your sadhana, and with your focus on that, that's tapas. By that, if you can find God with that, then you can work. Sri Ramakrishna says, by the command of God. God will command, if says, you do work of service for others. And then there will be no problem, because you have known that there is nothing to achieve. It is only doing the thing of good for others. And nothing really you want to achieve for yourself. You want to do something good for the society. That's how all great teachers have been. They realize the truth and they could be immersed in the bliss. What was their need to keep their body? But they had the command from Supreme, that you worked for the liberation of darkness of the people, to enlighten the people. That's why came great teachers like Buddha, Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, Shankara. All they had realized the truth. For them, living and doing all debates throughout India and traveling every day was not needed at all. But still they did, because they had command. That's why they could do so well. When Buddha realized the truth, Mara came at the end again. Says, you have realized the truth. I said you could not do it. It's very difficult. But somehow you are very stubborn and very, you had the tenacity, you could do that. But don't think of sharing with others. Nobody will understand what you have achieved. Nobody will practice what you want to say them. Be happy yourself, live quietly, and don't preach the message of spirituality to others. So Buddha had already thought that he is going to teach to others. His life should be dedicated after having realized what one will do. So one will use it for the good of others. So Buddha already had thought how to use it for the good of others. So then Buddha said Mara was he. This time also Mara could not control Buddha. This Mara in the Buddhist lore says some evil spirit or some devil, something like that puts obstacles on the path of our realization, on the path of our good doing. But psychology says it's all inner feeling or inner samskara that we have. So still it says that, and Buddha denied that too, walked over from Gaya to Saranath. And Saranath was why Saranath? Saranath was the seat of learning. In ancient India, there were two very important seats of learning. One was Varanasi. The Saranath, all area was there. Another was Kashmir. Those both were very important places of learning. So Kashmir was still even later also in 12th, 13th, 14th, in centuries also, in 700, 800, 900 years ago also. Great philosophical studies were there. So Sarnath was in very ancient time. Varanasi has been the center of learning, Varanasi. In Buddha's time also came under Nalanda and Vaishali and all those places came. He went to Saranath. And Saranath was full of that thing. And he found his 4 disciples who were 4 co-religionists, co-practitioners. So the 5 people were practicing meditation according to whatever Hindu scripture was there. So in that what Buddha found, it was very rigid, and they asked all to do austerity, fasting and all that. They're all doing. And Buddha was very ahead in that, doing very perfectly. They had high regards for Buddha. 5 were there, 4 had very high. And Buddha one day ate some food from given by someone because he realized that like this, too much of tormenting to the body, torturing the body will not last. Without realization of truth, I will die. So what is the use of that? Then he chose Madhya Pantha. He was very wise. And this 4 thought, he has come to luxury, to eating the food to save his life. It became luxury for them. And they left Buddha. Buddha came to do greater spiritual practice, that meditation under the Bodhi tree. When they saw Buddha coming, they recognized after a few years he had come. And they said, he has come here, he's gone to change his ways, and he didn't practice well according to tapasya, didn't do fully, so we will not talk to him. Buddha goes closer. Those who thought of not talking, they fall at the feet of Buddha, because Buddha's face was shining like the Brahmagyani. Those who have this knowledge of oneness, knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of the reality beyond the senses and mind, they have some aura in them. So it is quite, those who are in that line, they can understand the difference between that. As Sri Ramakrishna could see that crazy person and said he is a Brahmagyani. So you can go and ask some knowledge from them. Like that, those also could recognize Buddha fell at feet. And Buddha, they are taught about the first message of this Buddha message. And he said there are 4 truths, 4 Chaturarya Satya, that there is suffering, that is true. Everybody experiences, every living being experiences suffering. So this is existential sufferings. Being born in this world is a suffering. So it is beset with suffering. But there is a way out of, there is a suffering can be removed, and there is a way out of suffering. And the way out of suffering is 8-fold path. This all Buddha taught at Saranath. If you go to Saranath near Varanasi, there is still that place where Buddha had given first sermon. It's a big, what is it called? Stupa. Stupa is there, made by Ashoka sometime long back, and just 500 years after Buddha. Like that, these great teachers would are the lights of humanity. So they would come to us, bear all suffering or whatever is there, and try to enlighten us. Buddha did so much good to so many people. Buddha's one teaching was our life should be dedicated to Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya. For the sake of many, for the welfare of many, for the good of many, for the welfare of many. That is the purpose of life. Holy Mother also said, the purpose of life is fulfilled if we can give joy to others. So that is very important. When can we give joy to others? It is not one other. It is for all others. You have to give joy. Your life should be dedicated for the service of others, for the happiness of others. That is the purpose of life. Until we have realized the truth, we have realized the oneness, there is some flaw in our attitude, behavior on that. But when we realize the truth, that should be our goal. How we can become serviceful and we can do something good to others. So that is the purpose of life, and that is the purpose of living even after having Brahmagyana. Brahmagyana is something, seems to be very difficult. How can find oneness with all? You see all this Gyanadeva's your teaching and teaching of Upanishad, so similar. Gyanadeva also says you should find oneness. All this triputi of the seer, seen, and the process of seeing, all they merge. There is only one reality. So this one reality has to be experienced, and that can be experienced by slowly removing the clouds, the dark clouds, and after that the white clouds. Dark clouds of egotism, attachment, fear, hatred, anger, jealousy. those are to be removed. How to remove those? That is the thing. How to remove those? Slowly, slowly trying to feel the teaching of the Upanishads that we are all one. That will make us less differentiated from others. As the example of in Changdev Pasasti of the mirror, we are always seeing the mirror as if the world is nothing but seeing yourself in the mirror. What a beautiful, and how many verses the Jnanadeva has told to Changdev, that in so many verses the world is the mirror that you see. It is your own self, yourself you see, because there is no difference between you and what you perceive in this world. If we can have that sort of realization that it is all one, it is all I, then naturally that comes that you want to make others happy, because Swami Akhandananda used to say, who is others? Serving others, who is others? All is I, so I serve myself. So that type of attitude will come when we have this realization. The saying, praying to Sun God that remove the obstacle, I cannot see the reality, you are so bright. If you remove that brightness, I can see the truth hidden within you. That is just figurative. That is that all that I see as the variation, remove that variation here, this covering of the Maya here, and all truth is in front of me, and it is so close, it is just at my hand. The truth is in me and in front of me, but I cannot still see. And here it says, the person has struggled a lot in sadhana and often now finds that he is close to realization. And then it says to son. It is like Jesus said, no, knock and it shall be opened unto you. You have to go and knock. So that much is the sadhana. And you don't have to open, it will be open unto you. The God is ready to reveal himself to us. That just you go to that and knock. Sri Ramakrishna says that you don't have to reach there and knock. Just one step forward you put. God will come 10 steps towards you. Another step, more 10 steps. So God will come much faster than you approach him. Just begin to reach him. Think of him, how to reach him? Through prayer. That Lord, reveal yourself to me. That Sri Ramakrishna always used to pray that Lord, pray to Mother, Divine Mother, reveal yourself to me and don't make me attached to in this your world bewitching Maya. That this Maya that you have created is just world bewitching, making us forget our true self, our reality, and thus we get attracted by seeing the thing. But it is all the magic that you have created. Please see that I am not caught in this magic. So, realizing always that it is the self that appears as this universe. It is the self that appears as other person. It is the self that appears as everything. There is nothing but that Atman, that myself, which is one with Brahman or the reality. There is nothing other than the reality. If we can conceive of that, think of it, and we can realize by thinking, going on thinking, it may flash any time, and we can realize, yes, this is the truth. What the scriptures say makes sense, that what I have achieved. Then you say, I have realized that Veda Ahametam Purusham Mahantam. I have realized that great Purusha, great being, Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastha. There also Upanishads also say it is like the brilliance of sun and beyond all darkness. Tameva viditva ati mrityumeti. You want to overcome death? This worshipping Sambhuti and Asambhuti will not happen. You will have to realize that being. Then only tameva viditva ati mrityumeti nanya pantha vidya. There is no other way than that to realize God. That being, that resplendent like the sun, which is your own self, has to be realized as one with this created universe or this Pratyaksha Brahma. So that is what the Isha Upanishad inspires us to go in that path and be blessed with that knowledge and realization. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishnarpanamastu.